to the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to our 12 episodes of December with 12 inspiring women with 12 inspiring stories. We cannot wait to gift you a gift that continues to keep giving throughout the month of December. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Woman Witness Podcast, The Stories at the Well. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices of women that are out there making a positive impact in their lives, in the community, and just the world around them. Today, I have a very special topic and a very special guest. We're going to be talking about babies today, and I'm so excited to have an expert on with us. But before I bring her in, I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about her and what it is that she does. Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Lakesha Quarels, the founder and CEO of Sunflower Births. Lakesha is a full spectrum doula and midwife assistant, clinical instructor, and now a published author. Sunflower Births offers holistic alternative health services, catering to both birth and postpartum needs to new and expecting families. They provide essential resources for both parents and babies. Lakesha also extends support to fathers, preparing them to assist their partners before, and during, and after childbirth. Doulas like Lakesha are trained professionals who support expectant mothers throughout their pregnancy journey. They provide education on pregnancy, labor, early motherhood, while offering emotional and physical assistance. The primary goal of a doula, like Lakesha, is to guide women throughout childbirth, ensuring a positive and empowering experience. Sunflower Births has supported over 50 families with the birth and postpartum care, emphasizing equal treatment and evidence based education for all families. Lakesha is also the author of Bloom Baby Bloom, a journal for mom. Without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce to you my guest today, Lakesha Quarels. Lakesha, welcome to the well. How are you?
Thank you, Leah. Hi, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm doing fantastic today. Super excited.
Well, I'm super excited to have you on. We were chatting a little bit before, like I told you, I am so excited to meet professionals like you. This is your business. This is what you are into. I am all about it. And what I love is the fact that you are an expert at it. So it doesn't matter how much I love it. I know that it's not for me, but I can definitely live vicariously through you. And I love the support that you are offering to our community and to expecting moms and postpartum moms. But let's just dive into it and talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you back the floor. I want you to share a little bit about your journey and how you became a doula. How did you get into this?
Yes. So, people ask me this often, and I told them, my story stays the same because at first I didn't know what a doula was. I was a young mom. I became a mom to my daughter, my first child, at the age of 18 and gave birth at 19. So I was still young, trying to figure out life. Then fast forward, to the year 2016 is when I lost my son. I was pregnant. And before that, I had miscarriages in between. So, I had my journey and my uphill battles with birth and miscarriages and things like that. So in 2020, after, grieving and finally saying, all right, I need to let go, but I want to help women, I started Sunflower Births. But to back up a little bit, in 2016, when I lost my son due to trisomy 13, I actually gave birth to him and he lived for 57 minutes in my arms and he passed away. And I know people are wondering, why am I smiling? Why does it sound like she's smiling? I'm smiling now because I had to do the work to get where I am to be able to help others who are maybe going through the same thing that I've been through,
Yeah.
or just wanting to have a safe and sacred birth experience. So I try to provide them with their needs and their wants to ensure that they have that safe environment to give birth in. Led me to
That's why
starting
you're
some.
smiling now.
Yes, yes.
Mhm, mhm.
Took a lot of prayer.
And a lot of time.
Yes.
Lakesha, I'm sorry I didn't hear you. Do you mind? You said you lost your child to, I didn't hear what
Trisomy
you,
13. Yeah,
trisomy 13.
trisomy
What?
13 is where, extra pair of chromosomes. And
Mm,
the life expectancy for those children with that, they are not expected to live beyond birth. Like you may get them for a few days, a few hours. You just never know, because with that, a lot of babies are born with cleft lips, missing palate, the roof of their mouth, chamber of their heart could be missing, the front lobe of
mm,
their brain, like a portion of their brain could be missing. And my son had all of those things. He had a cleft lip. And they said that that could be fixed by, surgical procedure if he were to survive, but the
right.
survival chances were very low. And then he had the missing front lobe of his brain. So that was also, a challenging aspect. And those
Yeah.
kids are said to be mentally challenged. And they were like, well, if you take this child home, our fear is that you're going to wake up to a dead baby. And that's how they worded it.
Mm.
It was kind of
Uh,
harsh, but it was the truth. Hmm.
okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. So out of that, you birthed the
So,
sunflower burst.
yes,
Got
with the
it.
intention of
And
spreading the love and
yes,
advocating for other women who cannot speak
yes.
up for themselves.
Yes, and I've seen your work on your page and on your social media, and you are out there definitely blazing a path and doing a lot, and I love it. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want to talk about that as well. So you talked about, so what inspired you to specialize in both birth and the postpartum services?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Leah. That is a question that I was waiting for someone to ask me. And so, yeah, because I'm just like, we forget that part. We say doula, but we don't break it down because it's so many
Yes.
layers and different types of doulas. So initially, I started as a birth doula, and it was good. It was just like God called me to do this. And I just didn't know that this would be my path, but it felt so
Hmm.
natural. It felt just easy. And I could go in these environments, or I can see these ladies, these women, and I could read the room and just automatically know what they need, or I felt it, and I would provide that following intuition and being guided.
Yes.
And I would provide these ladies with these things, whether it was acupressure, massaging, swaying, helping them
Mm.
through, helping them dilate quicker than what they were already dilating at. So then I'm like,
Mm.
all right, well, after birth, what happens after that? Do I just
Yeah.
leave and go,
Mm.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
I just tell
I
them how
grown.
gone, you've given birth already, going about your life. And I'm
Yes.
like, birth does not end there. We have to remember, when mom is giving birth, not only is she giving birth to a child, she is birthing a new her. So who's
Mm.
going to hold the mom and not just look to hold the baby, right? So so 2 months after
Wow.
being practicing as a birth doula, I was like, no, I want to know what these women are going through after, because I know what I went through. So I went
Yeah.
back to school, I got more certification, and I became a postpartum doula because I wanted to know how to serve these ladies in a different capacity. And in doing so, it has allowed me to not only expand my horizon, but to actually make an impact on these ladies' lives. Because a lot of women, even after birth, nobody is checking on them. They want to know how the baby is doing, but they're not
Mm.
asking mom, have you eaten
Right.
yet? Can I wash your dishes?
Yeah.
What are you needing? They're just like, oh, you'll be fine. You just gave birth. Everybody, all the women go through it. It's fine. But no, these women really
Mm.
need holding and care after birth. It's a lot more to just pushing a baby out. You have to worry about mood swings, their mental state, their physical
Yeah.
state. Can they get up?
Yeah.
Can they maneuver? It's a new
Oh my.
body. It's a new them. They're trying to adjust. And here we are, smiling and looking, rushing over to their homes to hold their baby. But what are you
Hmm.
doing for the mom to some of that burden off of
Wow.
her? She's trying. So
Yes.
that's why I
And
became a
heaven
postpartum doula as well.
and not to add to, but what if they have other babies in the home too?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes, Leah. That's the thing. We think of moms, with just one, but a lot of my clients that
Right.
I have in this season, they are repeat clients. I assisted them either
Yeah.
last year or 2 years prior. And now coming in, I just saw a client yesterday, and she is
Yeah.
one, she's an amazing woman, but she will not ask for help. So
Ah,
that was a part of our postpartum plan. Yeah. And I'm that way too. So we laugh at each
yes.
other because I'm like, girl, the pot
Yep.
calling the kettle black, but baby,
Uh-huh.
I got to give you. I'm like this. I'm your sister. I'm your birth room homegirl,
Yeah.
but I got to come to you as your doula, and I'm telling
Yes.
you that we're going to have a plan for postpartum. You're going to ask for help, and you're not going to feel
Yeah.
bad about it. So yesterday
Yes.
when I went to her home, she was like, "Well, I was looking for things to do, and I do have dishes and I do have clothes." I was like, "Okay, where they at? I
Yes.
will do it. Let me help you." And after I got done, and I had my mentee with me, she helped me as well. Oh my gosh, the smile, you can just feel mama like,
Yeah.
that sigh of
The
relief.
burden. Yes.
Yes, the burden because she has a 3-year-old, now a
Yeah.
newborn, and her husband had to go back to work to provide, in
Yeah.
which I understand. He's a
Yeah.
great father,
Absolutely.
but he has to provide.
Has to
So she
provide.
wanted the home to be neat from when he comes home, and so he doesn't feel too much stress as well. And I'm just like, girl, now both of you get some time back. Y'all put those
Yes.
babies down and kick your feet up. We got this. And she was just so happy. She's like, I didn't wash dishes in like days. I was like, let me get my AirPods. It'll be fine. I
Yes.
will put this music on, honey, and we're gonna get to
Yes.
scrubbing. Just to
Yes.
see her afterwards. Oh my gosh. Yesterday I fell in love all over again with being a birth and postpartum doula. I mean, it touched me to the core. I couldn't do nothing but thank God.
Lakeisha, you literally have me almost in tears because I remember those days. I remember those days. And I love that you are doing that. You are offering just a moment of peace to women who don't know that they need it, families who don't know that they need it. Okay, I'm gonna come. Okay. So, what are some of the most common challenges new and expecting families face, and how do your services address each of or address them or attack them?
Yeah, so many challenges that are common is especially for first time parents, and honestly even sometimes with second and third time parents. Even though a doula has been around since ancient Greek times,
Yeah.
it's become a popular
Yeah.
term, it's been around before there was even like an
Right.
official title. It's been there, in the
Hmm.
communities, how these women would surround women after birth, and they would let the mom rest for 40 days during postpartum, and the village will get together and take care of them. Now, with social media and technology involved, there's so many different stigmas around doulas where you're not trying to force someone to trust you, but you have to really show up and show them why you are needed. Moms are amazing because we're going to research anyway. That's just us, But with some dads, and kudos to the dads that when they meet me, they're like, oh, I've already done my research. I know what a doula is. How can you help me? So kudos to them. But when you have those families who are unsure and they're like, and they rightfully so, who am I giving my money to? Why am I paying you to give me this information if I can be Dr. Google and find it, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I get that. I get that. But the thing is, with Google, it gives you so many resources that you don't know what to trust or what applies to you because what applies to me may not apply to you. So that's the challenge, just trying to provide them with the evidence based information and getting them to understand, not because it's trending, but because there's a serious need for doulas, especially for Black women. And I service everyone, I don't discriminate, but we know the data is there, it's in the numbers. People lie, but numbers don't. With doulas at your birth, you have a higher rate of less interventions, of needing less interventions, or you may not need
Mm.
a cesarean with a doula by your side because we are there as advocates. to ask those questions that you don't think to ask. It can be something small as to blood pressure. If you just came in and had your blood pressure read and you having contractions and you're in pain, of course it's going to be high. You're in pain. But
Right.
they don't know to say, hey, can I take a deep breath? Can I sit for 5 minutes to let my body settle down? And then can you recheck my blood pressure? They just go with, oh, now I have high blood pressure. I need a cesarean because we don't want to risk any chances with baby. And I have
Mm.
to use this scenario every time to get people to understand, hey, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not even trying to force you to get a doula. But the benefits outweighs the risk when you include a doula in your birth and postpartum plan.
Yes, it does. I just seen this. I don't know what I was doing, but I was just seeing this meme. You mentioned the expense of it, but I beg people to re-look at that. Don't look at the expense, but look at the value. Take a second look at it. Am I getting the value out of what I need this service for? And I promise you, if you see the value, you're not even going to pay attention to the expense of it. I agree 100%. I want to talk to you in light of your new book, uh, Bloom Baby Bloom, Bloom Baby Bloom, a journal for mom. We briefly spoke about it a little bit, and I want you to talk to us about the grief and the grief experience and how many parents can take this book and use it to support themselves, maybe even a family member during the grieving process.
Yes, for sure. And Bloom Baby Bloom, a journal for mom, it guides you through so many stages of your pregnancy and how it's set up. You can start with it, you can stop with it, and you can get back
Yeah.
to it. So if you have a mom experiencing fertility issues,
Mm.
they will just stop at the conceiving part. They'll start there. Hey, I want to conceive, or I envision this for me.
Mm.
You'll write in it, then you'll put it back on the
Yeah.
shelf. And then once you conceive, that's that milestone that you hit. Now you're ready to go on to chapter one, getting ready. Yay, I'm pregnant. What to expect? There's guided affirmations in there, there's checklists up until your postpartum, and even a daily checklist to say, and it's just one checklist at the end, but that is to help you get in a habit of doing that for yourself, to write it down, to express yourself. And a lot of times we feel we don't have people to talk to, and especially if you're grieving, that journal can help you just by flipping through it. And I tell people, I'm not expecting at all right now, not at all, and I tell people like I can't have any more children unless I go through IVF. And I'm not ashamed to talk
Mm.
about it anymore like I used to be because of my age. They'll be like, you're young. Why can't you have kids? Or why you keep
Yeah.
miscarrying your kids? What is wrong with you? I've dealt with that pain. I dealt with the whispers of that. So I thank
Mm.
God for allowing me to grow through it and to produce something like this, because when I was going through all of that, I didn't have any outlet. I didn't think to just pick up my notebook and do it. But I'm a big believer of faith and God and affirmations and the power of the tongue. So I'm like, for years, I wanted to create something for moms to have that where they don't even have to think. This journal is guided and it tells you, all right,
Mhm.
inhale, exhale, relax your shoulders. How do you feel? Those
Mm.
things that I still use even without expecting, because I need a reminder to breathe. I need a
Yes.
reminder to relax because I'm
Yeah.
taking on so many personalities, different, different things. I have
Yeah.
to remind myself to refocus and recenter. So that journal is there for women to really just find your inner voice, let it out, and be okay with how you're feeling without sugarcoating it or trying to make it bland because you really don't want to express how you truly feel. No, if you want to cuss, write it out. That's not for nobody
Ah,
else but you.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
You want to say something, oh, I'm sick of this house today. Write it out. That's for nobody else but you. However you feel, let that journal flow and guide you to produce that on paper. And then also you can look back at it after you have healed and say, oh my gosh, I was in this
Look how
state of
far
mind.
gone.
Now I'm here.
Yes.
It's a full circle moment, and you can
Yeah.
help the next mom. So it's a full circle journal. I'm telling you, and I'm not saying it because it's mine. I've cried many of
Yeah.
times reading this journal that I produced with the help of a publishing company. And it was just like, this is a
Yeah.
baby. I gave birth to something that's going to help
Yes, you
so many
did.
women. I couldn't
Yes,
believe
you
it.
did.
So that is Bloom Baby Bloom, a journal for mom.
I love it. So it doesn't matter what stage you are in. This journal is going to be able to help you. If you are grieving, conceiving, if you are grieving maybe the loss of a child, if you are going through the process of growing a child, or that post, even getting stuck past that postpartum, making sure it doesn't fall into depression, this journal is going to help you. And can I just say this? You said, even though you're not expecting now, but God has brought you full circle. You have, from what I hear you say, you've experienced it all. You experienced trials with conceiving. You've had a baby. You lost a baby. You are now a doula and a postpartum doula. You've went full circle, so I can see how you are very much qualified to write this book for all mamas in all stages. I love that. I love that, Lakeisha. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. Okay, I gotta calm down. I want to talk about your faith and how has your faith influenced your approach with working as a doula and a holistic health provider?
Yes, let's talk about it. I know it's so cliche, and people are probably tired of me saying this in all interviews, but this didn't come about with Keisha's thoughts. This was placed in my spirit, this was placed in a dream. I'm just being obedient because a lot of days I cry and people don't see it because I'm so passionate. I feel it so strongly
Yeah,
that I have to remember not to take it personally. So that's a
yeah,
thing. And when
yeah,
I incorporate my faith, I'm walking with God's vision of guiding me. It's not my worldly vision of how I'm seeing things, because if so, I would be affected by it all and I would not be able
yeah.
to show up for these other families and even my own family. So faith
Mm,
is how I always say, if I don't have anything else, I got faith, because all it
mm,
requires is faith the size of a mustard seed. And I'm like,
that's it.
well, dang, if I think of a mustard seed and I think of a newborn stomach, the newborn stomach is the size of a marble. So he's not asking me to have faith the size of a marble,
Wow,
which is this small. He's asking me to have faith the size of a mustard seed, and that's like a little speckle on the floor. And I'm like, if I can't have that, what else am I wanting? So
wow.
with that faith and really relying on faith and knowing that all will be well and God has already ordered my steps, I'm able to continue to show up. People ask me all the time,
Yeah.
how have you went through all these things and you still show up
Yes.
smiling? You still supporting everybody. You everywhere from Atlanta to Greenville, back to Atlanta to Charlotte, maybe Asheville. And I tell people, I'm like, it really doesn't feel like work. But when you put it on paper, it looks like a lot.
A
I
lot of
would
work.
not be
Yeah.
doing all of this. Yeah, you know, but this is God.
Yeah.
It's all God.
Yeah.
That's all I
Yeah.
can say, but God, honestly.
Love that. I love that. Can I ask you, and we're talking about faith, right? And we're talking about how you have implemented your faith into the service that you provide. Can you talk to us about the significant impact that is made on your personal healing journey as well as your family's healing journey?
Yes, of course. And for myself, the impact it has, it's I had to encounter and go through these things, and all the losses, or the medical letdown, or the misdiagnosis, or all the bad news and things that I've been through from upbringing to now, the challenges. I always used to ask, why me? Like, dang, God, I can't have nothing easy. Why I gotta keep going through this? How many tears I gotta cry? How many losses? Why me? And it just didn't make sense until one day he just brought me all the way down. And honey, I had to sit in solitude and face myself. And he asked me, I kept seeing the same thing. Why not you? Who are you to think that you are up here or holier than thou, that I'm not going to take you through it? He didn't say that he wouldn't get me through it, but I'm not exempt from being taken through it. So I'm actually glad that I went through everything that I've went through, so I can be able to speak my truth without the fear of judgment, the fear of embarrassment, or the whispers. Now it's just like, hey, this is what God has done for me. I don't know about you, but this is why I can keep talking about this. This is why I take it so personal. This is why, even with little, I wish I can look at my bank account and be smiling right now. But even with the little that God, and it's the truth. And it's like, Lord,
Yes.
with these
Mm-hmm.
degrees I have, I can go back and be a practice manager. I can go do public health relations. But why do you keep pulling me from this when I know I went to school because I needed to prove family members wrong, being that I was a teen mom? I need to do
Mm,
this. Why am I doing this? And I'm not here. I did all of that because he needed me to be prepared for what's to come and have the knowledge to go with it. And now it makes
mm,
sense. So even when families come to me and they're like, "Oh, well, what's your background? Are you just a doula?" Because I know that anybody can say they're a doula, but what is your background?
mm,
And then
mm.
as soon as I say,
Yeah.
"Well, or do you have time? Do you have time?" And I tell them from my military experience, my 10 plus years in healthcare, me starting out as a medical
Oh, wow.
assistant and working my way up into leadership. I was a practice manager over in urgent care and dental offices. I mean, I've worked in research, I've worked in
Wow.
so many different levels from pediatrics to um, oncology to cardiology. And I'm like, dang, I've done all of
Yeah.
these jobs. What am I doing this for? Like, girl, where are you going with this? And I tell these women, I'm like, and now I teach, I'm a clinical instructor. I teach medical assistant. I teach phlebotomy. And they're like, oh gosh, yeah, you
Oh,
overqualified. We
yeah.
ready. We need you. We trust you. And I don't like to use those titles to get me in the door, but you have to ask, you need to know who's coming into your space. You need to know that
Absolutely.
they're just not
Yeah.
making up stuff. And I tell people, as a doula, I'm acting as a
Yeah.
non-medical professional. So I don't really even bring my titles in under my scope as a doula because I like to stay within my scope when I'm practicing as a
Yes.
doula, but I still
Mm-hmm.
can give you some extra
I can give it
knowledge.
to you though.
I can
Yes.
give it to you, but I'm not going to go in the hospital and plug up the machines and do EKGs. I'm still going to let them do
Right.
their jobs, even though
Right.
I'm qualified and I know how to do those things. That's not my
Right.
job. So when I tell these women that, I said,
Yes.
hey, I'm there in case I have to step up. And in case I have to step out of scope, I'm willing to do that for my clients because I would rather get kicked out of this establishment for you to go
Yeah.
home with your baby versus to stand there and watch them do something wrong, knowing I had the voice to speak up and I did. That would be the worst thing that
Mm.
I could ever do or someone could ever do is sit right there and watch something, a crime or something be done wrong to a mom and not speak on because you want to keep your rapport in the community. I'm okay with the
Mm.
backlash. As long as I'm saving a mama's life and
Yes.
these babies, baby, you can say what you want. But when it comes to these women and including dads, so
Yes.
dads can know too, I'm going to be
Yeah.
that voice. And sometimes I can't even find my own voice. But somehow, God always give me a voice to speak for others.
Oh
Baby.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. I got chills right now. I am feeling everything you are saying. I will say, I want to say this when you said all the different hats that you wore. I feel like I hear so loud and clear God was preparing you for something that you have not seen, that you have not even stepped into. You are now already in the door, but you have not seen his full picture, but he's already prepared you for it. Now you don't have to go back and say, "Oh, let me go do this," but you are because you already did that. Oh, let me go get that because he's already prepared you for where you are going. So that's just what I hear so loud and clear. So I love that. Okay. How do you balance your professional support and your spiritual guidance and being a mom, and how do you balance it all? Wife, how do you balance it all? It's a lot.
You know what? I had to take the balance out of it because if I was trying to find balance, maybe I would be leaning to the left all the way one day, and then I'll be leaning to the right the next day, and then headed for
True.
it, right? So I was like, baby, there's no balance
That's
with
true.
all of this. You have to find harmony, and
Huh,
it has to serve you.
huh.
What are you doing it for? Is it a reason why? Are you doing it just to say you're doing something for recognition? Or are you doing it because God called you to do it? And if he called me to do it, he's going to make a way. Just 2 weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, I was at a friend's going to a wedding. I had a client call me saying that she was about to give birth. She felt, I don't know how God put me in the close proximity of this client's house, but I was there in 8 minutes because she had that baby at home. And I was there. Yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, it was not planned that way. Her husband had just left to take her daughter up the street to their
Oh
mom's
my
house, and they were
gosh.
preparing, knowing that the baby was coming. It's like, yeah, that baby is coming. And
Oh
before
my
she could
goodness.
even get move anything else, she
The
put the
baby was there.
phone down because she was on the phone with her midwife after she had called me, and that baby came. And I just said, wow. I left the wedding and then went to the hospital with my client to make sure she was good. Went
Thank you,
back to the
Jesus.
wedding. So I'm
Ah,
saying all this to say, people at the wedding was like, "When you just
where did
got
you
a
go?
birth?" I said, "Yeah." How you gonna care? I'm like, if it's important to you, you're going to be there. This friend, I know that this
Absolutely.
marriage, this wedding was absolutely important, but I know that my clients needed me there too. I had to make choices. I made those choices and I was able to do it all. But I was so happy about that sleep that night.
Man.
But I say all this to
Man.
say, baby, it's just
I
harmony. I dance with it. I dance with the wind. Wherever the wind is taking me, I'm going there. But it has to be fulfilling. It has to have a purpose. I'm not just everywhere just to be on the scene. I definitely make it
no.
a priority to have self care and rest. And I don't
Yes.
have all of my stuff together, but it took for me to go into a deep, dark place. My body forced me to sit down just almost a year ago because I was going and going and going, ignoring the signs that were there to rest, to cancel my
Mm.
schedule, to do this. But I wanted to please everyone. I wanted to be this good doula. And God was like, well, how can you be good to other people if you can't even be good to yourself and take care of the body
Mm.
I gave you? You can't
Oh
even
my
rest
goodness.
because you think success equates being busy. You think you're going to be
Mm.
unsuccessful because you're not working 7 days a week. And I was like, yeah, I do think that I need to be grinding. Yes.
Yeah.
And no, success comes with when you rest. You give your body time to heal. You give clarity to your mind. You can speak clearly and you know where you headed. I had a
Mhm.
fog brain. I could not see. I was just everywhere. I was just like, oh, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. But
Mm.
baby, it's all about listening to your body, finding that harmony, making priorities, writing it down, and trust that your clients know that you are a good doula because they wouldn't have hired you, and be okay with setting boundaries and resting. And that's
Yes.
okay. So
And
that's it.
that is
It's all about harmony for me because balance will have me here and there, and I will not make it.
I haven't heard anybody say that. I've heard Michelle Obama say something close to it, like, balance in marriage. But you are absolutely right. You have to have harmony in your life. And it can be up and it can be down. And it's okay for it to be like that while you figure it out. I like that, Lakeisha. I might be stealing that. Okay. I'm gonna borrow it. I'm gonna try to have some.
Take it because I want people to realize like we are
It's
women, we
true.
are super women, and we come off as strong. Nowadays, I kind of get offended when people be like, "You're so strong," and I'm like, "No, I don't always want to be looked at as strong. I'm still a woman. I still want to
Yeah.
get my hair done. I want to get my nails done. I want to be cute. Why do I always have to be strong? I
Get a
don't mind being
massage.
strong, but for you to
Yeah.
just label me as strong because of all the hardships I've been through and what I'm doing, no, I want it to be easier. But right now, this is my assignment and I have to show up to be strong for others. But that's why when I tell women, I'm like, you don't always have to be strong. It's okay to cry in front of me. It's okay for me to hug you. It's okay for you to feel that love, even if it's
Mm,
just for your contract and you don't want to deal with me after your contract is over. You know, some clients are just clients and some have grown to be friends and family. It
mm.
depends on what they want. I don't force these things. But when you let someone in, you don't know what could come of it. And it's okay to be okay with just being vulnerable sometimes.
That is so true, Lakeisha. That is so true. I want to challenge even myself, and I want to challenge some of our listeners who are listening now. Think about the last time you had a good cry or even cried in front of somebody, right? Think about it and maybe try it. You know what? Can I just say this real quick? Even with my children, sometimes I have to just have a whole moment where I have to sit down. I need you guys to fully understand what this is doing to mommy. You guys are fighting and arguing and this and that. But they're being kids, right? But this is where I'm at. I need you to try your best to work with me and control yourselves from hitting each other, from screaming and hollering, let's do something. Let's color. Let's go outside. Let's do something other than just do this, because it is. And you know what? Literally, when I said this, oh, and I think, it was, helping up around the house. When I said this, my kids looked at me. My 8-year-old was in tears, and I'm like, "Well, come here, baby." I was letting myself be vulnerable and letting them know that I need help. I need your help. And and you're right, Lakeisha. It's not until we open up and let other people see us vulnerable, it's when they can actually see that, you know what, this is a real human being. She's not a robot that just runs around screaming all the
Yeah,
time.
that's
So
what our kids envision us as when we don't
I
show
know.
anything because we got to pay bills, we got to get the clothes.
Yeah,
And my daughter told me, she's
yeah,
14 now, and she said 2 years ago, Mom, I never see you cry. And that actually affected her because she was like, well, she started hiding her emotions. Well, I never seen my mom cry, but I know she's dealing with something, but we're always here. She's always taking care of me. And one day she was like, why don't you cry in front of me? And that right there made me cry. And all she could do was hug me. She said, you think I don't understand? I understand more than you assume I don't. I do or don't. And I was like, you're right. You came from me, and your dad is smart too. Gave him his little praise. And I was like, what? I can cry. And I said, I don't cry because I don't want you to see me as weak. And she said, no, I want to know how I can help you. You're my mom. And now to this day, we talk, we cook together, we make soap together, we do TikToks now. Like she's like, Mom, she can tell Mom, what's wrong? Talk to me. What happened? Was a student bad today? Did this happen? And I'm like, oh, class was a bit frustrating, because I keep repeating myself. And she'll be like, it's okay, Mom. They'll get it together. If not, just keep moving. I'm just like, girl, where have you been all my life? So
right.
when our kids see us in this emotional state, they don't see us as weak. They actually see us exuding strength. And they are more
Yeah.
prone to open up and letting us in with their lives because we think we know our children until they're out in the world or around other people. And boy, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
So giving
Yeah.
her that freedom to see me be weak, as I call it,
Mm.
she comes to me so much, and I'm like, oh Lord, what Johnny done did today, girl? What we
Oh.
today? So I love how you were honest with your children, and it
Yeah.
helped you, and it's gonna only help them. I'm so happy I got to cry in front of my baby.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Lakeisha, I'm glad we had this talk. We had this moment, and especially in that healing and in that harmony place, right? Harmony. I'm gonna stop using balance for a minute. So thank you for that. That's good. Yes. We're gonna be vulnerable today. From here on out, we're not going to equate being vulnerable as weak. We're going to equate it to being strong. Okay, I want you to tell us what your future goals are. Where do you see sunflower bursts in the next 3 years? I'm giving you 3. I ain't even going 5. Where do we see us?
It's so funny. My business coach said that too. She was like, you telling me stuff that I already see in you. I need you to think
Yes.
bigger. So here I am trying to
Uh-huh.
think bigger. And I see myself, I see Sunflower Births in a building that has multiple resources for moms. You can do yoga,
Mm.
Reiki, you can have your lactation support. I wanted to not only provide community resources for the underserved, but still for people who can afford it too. I don't always want to put those type of labels on people. I don't like
Yeah.
labeling environments because everybody can be something if you just give them that chance. And that's what I want
Hmm.
to do. Create more opportunities, bring moms in from the community, have them use
Yeah.
their voices because they know best. We can come up with these things, but it doesn't matter if you don't hear the voice from the people to see what
Mm.
they need. So I see myself doing more, getting better at public speaking. God keeps bringing me to it, even though it's not my favorite. He
You're
keeps
very
bringing
good
me
at it.
to it. So I just see him taking me on that level, being able to. And yes, I have this journal for mom, but I also want to work on one for dads because I love to include dads. Y'all may even see me on the TV, but I feel that Sunflower Births, just from what we're doing now, it can only get better and grow from there.
Bigger. Absolutely. I can see that too. Absolutely. Okay, Lakeisha, thank you so much for coming and pouring at this well. I am full, and I hope that a lot of families were able to listen to this and learn a little bit more, dig a little bit deeper, and find out about doulas. And if you can, Lakeisha, tell us where we can find you. Where can people find out more information about Sunflower Births, about Lakeisha, and where to book and follow you?
If you're interested in getting a journal, Bloom Baby Bloom, a journal for mom, that is available on Amazon. Also, my website, sunflowerbirthsllc.com. You can find me on all platforms, Instagram and TikTok, Sunflower Doula Quiche, and on Facebook, I am Sunflower Births. Or you can just go to Google and type in Lakesha Quarels. All of my interviews and magazine features and everything related to Sunflower Births will come up.
Fantastic. Yes, it does. And you'll be able to see all the work that she's doing in the community as well. And you will have a lot of content, a lot of things to relate to. So please follow her. Yeah, follow her. It's going to be fun. You'll see a lot of stuff. So thank you for putting your content out there. Thank you for showing us what it is that you do. Keep doing that. Also, I want to give you back the floor. I do to all of my guests, because I want you to leave us with something that we could take with us throughout the week, something to lean on, something just to give us harmony and strength. I'm going to give the floor back to you.
Yes, and just going back of what I said earlier, if God brought you to it, he will bring you through it. So trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and know that you are not alone. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. And you have what it takes to do what you are called to do, and the world would not be a better place without you. So keep going, even when you're not motivated. Just keep taking it one day at a time.
I love that. Thank you so much, Lakeisha. And I just want to just highlight something, and I don't know why, but I need every mama, every parent who is listening to hear what Lakeisha just said. The world will not be a better place without you. We need you here. In order for you to be here, you got to be here. You got to be happy. You have to take care of yourself and ask for help. I love that so much. That is ringing loud in my ears, on my heart. So thank you so much, Lakeisha. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my special guest. Thank you for pouring at this well. I needed this. And I want anyone who is listening, if you got something out of this, you know a mom, you know a dad who needs this book, needs this journal, Bloom Baby Bloom, please, we ask you to pick it up. Pick it up for a friend. It's a perfect gift for a new mommy or expected mama. Get it, package it up in there with some diapers. I promise you it's going to be cute. Actually, I'm going to do that too for a friend of mine who just had a baby. For joining us on another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on Woman Witness TV network. Perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time.